I'm extremely excited for today's episode. My guest, Kathryn Wood, who I will introduce in just a second. First, a little bit about Veneration in this podcast. Veneration is a fitness and nutrition coaching facility in Johnstown, Ohio. And while we obviously do the workout thing really well, we are completely obsessed with our town, with our community, and of course our people. On this podcast, we'll be covering local happenings, food and drink spots here in town, interviews with our awesome members, and other local business owners, and of course, we'll jam on fitness topics with our coaching team too. If you're in Johnstown and looking to stay up to date with everything that's happening and learn a thing or two about how to enhance your fitness, go ahead and subscribe to our channel to get notified when we release new episodes. And finally, if you or a friend would like to begin your health and fitness journey with us, you can head over to CrossFitVeneration.com, or you can click the link in the show notes to book your free new member consultation at Veneration, where we will team up with you to learn about your story and your goals and get you on a custom action plan to bring them to life today. So without further ado, welcome Kathryn Cat Dog Wood to the Veneration podcast.
I was waiting for that.
It's no surprise. I'm predictable in that way. So I think the best way to introduce you is as one of the longest tenured members at Veneration. That's a true statement.
Yeah, I've been there a long time.
5+ years?
Almost 5.5, yeah.
5.5 years.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in 5.5 years.
Yes.
Like big things like personal records and pandemics, and then a bunch of little small things that make
like foot injuries.
Like foot injuries. So let's do this first. I like this a lot.
Okay.
I think this will give us it'll give me and the listeners, more importantly, a good glimpse into your life by answering this question. All right?
Okay. If
you could only listen to one song, read one book, and watch one movie for the next 5 years, what would they be? Song, book, movie.
Okay. Song would be Fix You by Coldplay.
I'm so glad I don't know what that is.
You don't know it?
No.
Doug didn't either.
Of course
so
he doesn't.
had to play it, yeah.
Okay.
So it's really cool. You need to listen to it.
I'll give it a try.
Movie, I would probably have to pick The Notebook, because that's something that I can sit and watch over and over and over again. Yeah.
I'm not...
Good story.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Book, you've probably never even heard of either. So, I read a ton. But I don't ever read anything like self-help or anything. It's all total fiction and
good for you
and stuff like that. So I very, very rarely reread a book. So the one that first came to mind would be Fortune's Rock. It's a book by Anita Shreve.
Okay.
It is probably one of the only books I've read more than twice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm confident that I've definitely never read a book 2 times, short of like a daily devotional that I'm on around 3 of, but an actual just a book.
Yeah, and it's pretty thick. I mean, it's like that thick.
Right on.
So.
I was just talking to Shauna Taylor about my struggle with reading fiction. I've been reading the same fiction book since the beginning of the shutdown. So
seriously, I have probably, honestly, in the last year, read at least 10 books.
Good for you. Do you read like in the mornings and the nights throughout the day?
So typically when I'm home at lunch, I'll read.
Cool. Like
I set up my Kindle and just like read, or if I'm eating breakfast on the weekends and stuff like that. So
that's awesome. If you read at night, can you retain it?
I don't know that I really ever retain everything I read.
That was a loaded question then.
Because sometimes it just depends. Sometimes I'll read a heavier like historical fiction that I really like.
That's cool.
Or sometimes it's just like a little fluff book that I'm just looking for something to read, and it's like something quick and easy that I can get through.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Well, that's a great answer. It tells us a lot about you. The Notebook. Okay, that's a good movie.
When Doug and I were dating, I made him go see it with me.
How was his attitude about it?
He went and saw it. Like, I think he was still trying to impress me at that point. So,
okay. So that might have gone over differently today. Kathryn, I want to know. I'm going to ask you before we just talk about what you do for a living. Mm-hmm. It could be the same answer, but I want to know what are you passionate about?
I mean, my family probably comes to mind first.
It's a great answer.
So,
Awesome. Talk a little bit about your family. Who is your family?
who is my family? I'm married to Doug.
No, you don't.
Dougie Doug. We will be married. We got married in 2004, so it'll be 17 years this year.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Congratulations. I didn't realize it was 17 years.
Yeah, we've been together for 20 years this year.
Wow.
And then we have Michaela, who is 23.
That's also crazy.
Yeah. She graduated from school and adulting currently, figuring life out. And then Alexander just turned 15. Alex.
Equally as crazy.
Who's now taller than me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would have, 5 years ago, I would have known Alex when he was 9.5.
Yeah.
9. Like, that's crazy. And the fact that he's taller than me isn't like a big accomplishment, but he's like taller than me, and
he's turning into like he's in that in between, like starting to form who he is, which is a neat process to watch, but it's also kind of like heart-wrenching to watch.
Sure.
But he's, like I say it all the time, like he's growing into be a really cool kid. Like he's very self-assured of himself and confident with who he is, and something I never had like at his age.
I was gonna say, which is really incredible because 15's rough.
Yeah.
Like that time is, yikes. Speaking of self-confidence, we've been taking Riot to like every park in the area. And we went to, obviously the one up by the Legion, and then we went to Wildwood in Granville. And he walks right up to any kid, any age, and like it just assumes they're friends and will play with them. And my mom says that I had that at his age. Obviously I don't remember that at 2.5, but I think I quickly grew out of that because I'm not one to even now just go up and approach something. Like it takes a lot to do that, and he just thinks like everyone is already friends, and it's super cool. I love the innocence. So anyway, that's my child, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your profession.
Yes.
What is your career?
Currently, or as of July of last year, I work in town at MVP Insurance as a customer service agent. So, / licensed insurance agent, I guess.
Tell me a little bit about the process to becoming a licensed insurance agent, because that was a fun journey to.
It was not a fun journey to watch.
It was a fun journey to witness. It was like a challenging thing. And like, yeah, so tell me about like what that process was.
So obviously I switched careers in the middle of a pandemic. So normally it would be like an in-person, like 5-day class. Like it's a 40-hour class that you have to take for like property and casualty, which in normal terms is like home, auto, and commercial and stuff like that. So
people are going to think this is the insurance podcast. I just had Hunter Atwood on.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, we talked about insurance for like an hour.
No.
Anyway, good, proceed. I'm sorry.
So so I actually did the whole class online.
Okay.
And then after you do the class online, you have to go take a test. So I was a little panicked about the exam. I haven't taken a test in a very, very long time that you have to pass. So, but I did. So I passed on the first time, got an awesome score. So it's awesome. A lot of information to retain, and it's a lot of like stuff that you don't, like stuff that I had to learn I probably will never ever use again, but it's one of those that you have to learn all of it to do it. So
now you are working in town. So your one of your 2 children is in school in town. You're obviously involved in all of his things. You train at the gym in town, and you work in town. You're in Johnstown all the time, and you live in town. So that's super cool.
I very rarely leave town.
Yeah.
Like, on the weekends I'll venture out, but pretty much my car is in like a 1-mile radius loop on a daily basis.
Just killing it on gas mileage.
Yeah.
No, it's a good place to be. Obviously, we settled in town too, and we built our life in Johnstown, and I love it. So I'm glad that your whole life is here in town.
It is now, yeah.
Super cool. What would you say if you look at your, and this is a very big question, I suppose, but like if you look at your life's journey, your journey to this point, what would you say are some challenges that you've overcome, and how have you overcome them?
had Michaela when I was young, 21, 22, right before I turned 22. So, I mean, that in and of itself as a single parent is a mountain of a journey. Because we got married, Doug and I met when she was almost 4.
Okay.
She was almost turning 4. So.
And you've done well. She's
all right. No, she's a good kid. So.
She's an awesome kid, and I say kid. She's not that much.
She's not a kid. She's kind of an adult at the moment, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I remember when she graduated high school and went to college, and from the gym's platform, we put out some information on just like to those that were graduating that year. Just like knowing that it's okay to be you and that it's okay to be different, and like chances are if you've come in contact with our movement that is Veneration at a young age, like there's probably something pretty special about you. Like you've got something, like, to come do a really hard thing every day voluntarily. Like you got some kind of maybe right. Just the point is that we had put out like it's okay to be different, to not do the norm, and it was really cool. I remember she latched onto that and like had shared the information, and we actually had a few conversations about it and stuff. She's great person. What would you say you are the most proud of? It doesn't have to be one thing. What would you say you're the most proud of in your life?
I mean, I'm obviously proud of my kids. I think they're really neat people.
Common theme here again. Pretty awesome.
I know.
No, it's good. It's good.
It is, but I mean, as like a mom, as you watch your kids grow up, I mean, you'll get there. Like you just said, I'm sure proud of the little tiny things that he does, but like when you know, like it just seeing we just got done with the musical, and Alex was in the musical, and seeing the sheer joy on his face, like when they were done and doing the like curtain bows and stuff like that, like the smile he had on his face, and watching him do it, like probably for me was like one of the biggest things ever. Like it just, because you're so full of, that they're so happy doing what they're doing, and that just makes, as a parent, makes you completely excited.
Of course, yeah, that's incredible. I remember, and I might have said this before on my podcast, I think I was talking to Hosak about it. Prior to the gym, I would like anytime I would accomplish something in my life, I would have a sense of like pride. I'd be proud of that. And then I quickly realized when I started coaching, even before Veneration, like the feeling was so much better when my athletes and my clients would accomplish something. And then when it was like my athletes at Veneration, it was just like these are our people, and it felt so good. And then you bring a human into the world, and it's like, you're not even paying attention to the things that you're accomplishing in life, because like this little blank canvas that is just learning something brand new every day is like accomplishing new things, whether it's walking for the first time or whatever. And like, it's just the greatest feeling. Like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It's just
it's seeing something, like Kayla graduated, God love her. I mean, she graduated college in the middle of the pandemic. Like they didn't have a ceremony. They didn't have anything like that. I mean, she got her college diploma in the mail.
Wow.
I mean, that's like a gut punch. Yeah. But, seeing her, like, she did it in 4 years with awesome grades and working, 2 jobs, and just, she's getting her own apartment here in the next, like, month and a half or something like that.
So cool.
So
that's exactly my point, is I can't imagine, like, as the years pass and accomplishments are larger and larger and more independent.
Older, though. It kind of sucks.
Would you say she's 23?
Yeah. I know.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about your Veneration story and the origin, and then we can fast forward to where you are today and kind of fill in the blanks there. So we said 5.5 years, which takes us all the way back to 20.
It was like January. What did we do? We came in January, so almost 5.5 years.
Yeah. So 2016.
Yeah.
Why did you start? Why are you doing this thing?
Why?
Yeah.
Because Amy no. It kind of is Amy. So at the time I had been working out for a long time at, I don't even know what it's called anymore. Is it LA Fitness? It's on Old 161 in Hamilton, over there. And I've been taking classes there, and the one trainer that I liked her classes, and she started to do like just stuff on her own, like little boot camps and stuff like that. So I was doing that. Well, then she kind of stopped. And I had gotten to the point where I needed to start looking for something, and it just kind of all fell into place. And Amy had said her and Carrie were checking out Veneration, and I'm like, well, can I tag along and check it out too? So I kind of like showed up with them.
Now, I don't know if I've ever really dug on this, because I know for certain that, and Amy will be fun to bring on too, and to ask about this, because Amy was like not digging it at first.
No.
Like she was like, and she still says it to this day, like I was going to come in, because I think Tom and
Carrie had gotten it for her.
Yes. So I think she was like, I'll
so
do
she
it.
was like, I'm going to do this for however long, like, they got for me, and then I'm like done. And I'm like, I really like it, I'm gonna stay. And and I started coming, she was doing the maybe 2 days a week, and then I was there like 3-4 days a week, and she's just like, really? And I'm like, I really like it. And then there was at one point, like, something changed at one point.
For her, it was the final week of that first month. I mean, coming into that final week, she'll still say like that she was just like not digging it, whatever, and then a switch.
Something switched, and she was like, "Okay, I can do that." And I'm like, "See."
Oh,
but see, cool. I'm always the type, like in college when I would work out, like I'm not one to go out and run. To this day, I'm still not one to go out and run. I would rather lift the weights and do the hard weight stuff, which is when I started there. I'm like, okay, this is like my gym, because I would be in the weight room with the guys in college versus out on the treadmills and stuff like that.
Sure.
With the girls.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So what would you say, another big question, talking about a lot of time here, what would you say stands out as your largest accomplishment in that time?
I mean, there's a lot, I hit like 250 on a deadlift, and and that was about 2 years ago, well, maybe a year or two ago that I hit that. I'd have to look. But I remember when I started, like, I think maybe my first deadlift was like 125.
Yeah.
And I was like struggling to get that. So that was a goal. Getting 100 over my head on the strict press was a huge accomplishment for me.
That's a big accomplishment, period, by the way. Like getting a significant load over top of your head with no momentum, like it's a big deal.
I would say the other ones that stick out is like the first time I was able to like RX an open workout.
Yeah. Like
that was pretty awesome for me. And then finally getting on the wall on a handstand.
So a lot of those things happened this year too. Like you had an RX open workout, and then you recently.
It's taken me 5 years to get on the wall.
So that's
kind of sad.
No, it's not sad. It's so cool, and a testament to consistency and steadfastness. And so that was during the gymnastics course, right? Yep. I was not there that morning, and I remember my phone blew up from like 4 different people. I opened up my phone, and I had 4 different pictures of you from different angles upside down. And everybody was super excited.
Now, Steele will tell you, I will fully admit to this. I actually got on the wall, and I did look at him, and I'm like, okay, how do I get down? And he had to come over and help me get off the wall for the very first time. But since then, I can get up and get down.
Hearing him tell the story is great too, because I think it went. Oh shit! I forgot to tell her how to get down.
Yeah, what's his response? And I'm like, I go, how do I get down? He goes, really? I said, oh yeah, seriously, I need help getting down.
That's awesome. So we've talked about some big accomplishments. I could list 50 of them for you. What is next on your radar? What do you have? What's on your mind? On your heart?
For the gym?
I mean, anything. Yeah, I was asking specifically in the fitness realm, but fitness inside and outside the gym, or just in life.
staying consistent. I mean, I still have, I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm over. There's certain, like, I'm okay with my number, with a lot of my lifts right now. Like, I don't feel this, I'm kind of in a comfortable spot where I don't feel the need to PR every single time I do a lift, which has taken me a lot to get to.
So if we go back to the previous question, which was biggest accomplishments, that's one of them. Like, that's sweet.
Yeah.
It's a huge, come a long way on that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's been a lot of mental changes over the last 5 years, I think. Because coming into it, so, like, I never played sports in high school at all, ever. I'm not very sporty. So for me, like, I learned really quickly, for some reason, I have this very odd competitive side that only comes out at the gym.
Was that the first time?
Yeah.
Like, even in previous,
like, so
when you're working out previously, like, this
for some reason, like, yeah, like, uncovered it. I mean, there was, like, some competitiveness to me because I sang all through high school and stuff. So, like, you would have to, like, compete to get onto a choir or in a competition or something like that. But this was, like, completely different. Like, it was very bizarre. So it's taken a lot of.
I dig it. I think that's awesome.
I know, but it's almost sometimes to my detriment.
Sure.
And I know we've had a lot of those conversations over the years. So I'm learning to kind of dial that back a little bit.
Yeah, we won't dig in super deep on here on that. What I will say is it makes me so happy to see where you sit today. Not that every day is easy, as far as like that, the whole concept is concerned, right? But you use the word consistency, and understanding that that's the biggest win every day is doing the thing, doing the hard thing. And there's a time and a place for that 100% all out effort,
right?
Like, but it's
and I'm learning that not every day needs to be that day.
Exactly, and we'll keep saying it, and we'll keep coaching it until we're blue in the face. I just talked with Matt Huff, and I worked out beside him yesterday, which was Wednesday, which was our GPP, like our aerobic day. And Coach Gabby was talking about like conversational pace and the intent for the day. This is going to be 30 to 40 minutes. And Matt, you've seen Matt on the salt bike, and he said, "How fast can our conversation be? How fast can we talk?" But no, there is an intent behind every day, and you're getting it, and that's awesome. That's really good. What would you say is your favorite Veneration memory? Again, there's got to be a lot in there.
A lot of them are like open related.
Yeah, that's cool. Like what?
Jake yelling at me, ironically. I mean, like there was one year I think I was able to do like 3 of them. And like the very first time I like RX'd like an open workout, it came out and I'm like, oh my god, I can actually do this. It was like wall balls and rowing. I forget what year it was. And then like something else came out and I'm like, I can do this again. So I just think a lot of those are some of my favorites, or any of the big, because it's a whole different atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
And it just makes it so much fun when you have people like rooting for you, yelling at you to do your best and to push.
Yeah, like in your corner.
Yeah,
it's super cool. For those listening that don't know, so RX meaning like prescription.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. Most people will, but just because what I want to do is shine light on, how incredible that accomplishment is. So Kathryn's talking about the Open. The Open is an annual event that we do, right? And CrossFit headquarters releases a worldwide workout, and it is written specifically one way, and then we can scale accordingly, like we do daily in our training. We modify and adjust as necessary. On multiple occasions, Kathryn has been able to take the workout exactly as written and tackle the workout without scaling, without modification, which is a huge accomplishment. Yeah. So RX, that's what she's referring to. The Open is an annual community event that we do. Yeah. So one of my favorite memories of you, This is good. No, it's selfish.
Does it include me crying? Because there's been those on multiple occasions.
No, it includes you making me cake. That's what it is. I will never forget the first event was my birthday. And the first of like the 24 Kathryn cakes that I've gotten, I was like, oh my gosh, she can make great cakes. I was like, this is going to be a great ride. And then they're never, at the events that we have, they're never gone. So I always end up the one taking them home, which means I eat the whole freaking cake over the next 2 days.
I think your birthday, you ate it for a while, didn't you?
A long time.
That was a really big cake.
It was, so that was at the first location.
Yeah.
And that thing, well, like I lived in the office. So it sat in the office. So it was just like, obviously I wasn't going to throw your cake away. So I was like, I'm going to eat this whole cake for 2 weeks. And then like as time passed, like the icing got a little bit harder and it was even better. It was so good. I'm serious. It was like a favorite memory.
Luckily it doesn't involve me crying, so. Like doing burpees and crying. I mean, that's happened multiple
Tears
times.
Of passion.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Okay, we'll call it that.
Yeah, for sure. What motivates you and keeps you focused on continuing to train here and continuing to show up to do this hard thing every day?
Because I don't want to weigh 400 pounds. That's an honest answer. I mean, it's that. It's to stay in shape. And part of it's like my social hour.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I don't get out much. We determined that earlier. So, it's to kind of get out, but it is to stay in shape and to stay healthy.
What is something that you do today, or that you're capable of doing today, that you maybe could not do before Veneration? Like outside the gym, whatever. Like, how has life changed, I guess is the question. Like, what's changed?
I can lift stuff heavier. Yeah. I mean, inside the gym, though, like, honestly, one of the biggest things, like, looking back, I remember there was a workout. Jeremy was there. We were doing hanging knee raises from the rings. And I was, like, mortified. Or whenever we had to, like, hang from the bar, I could do, like, one and I would have to drop.
Remember this vividly.
Yes, and it was awful. And it's like a few years, you get into it and I'm like, okay, I can actually like hang. I remember when I could only do one. Now I can like hang up there and do 15 or 20 at a time. And stuff like that is just.
And by the way, so I can geek out about this, like there's a huge difference between getting up there and just hanging and getting up there and do what you do these days, which is like with an active trunk and active lats. Like you're engaged on the bar. You're not just hanging on for dear life. Hanging on for dear life, that's step one, right? And you've accomplished step one, and now you're deep into the next step of like being purposeful with your hands on the rings, hands on the bar.
Yeah.
That's super cool. The evolution has been awesome.
I don't know. There's a lot of things. I think it affects, you kind of ask how it affects other ways. There's things you can do. I don't know. Mentally, I think it kind of built up mentally you to get a different mindset sometimes. So sometimes things they roll off your back differently.
I was going to use the word confidence for you.
Okay.
Not that you had a lack of confidence by any means, but you walk with a different pep in your step, and like the confidence is there. You just carry yourself differently, and that's one of the things I would guarantee of someone in your position. Like if you come in and you accept the coaching, you follow the plan, like confidence is going to build, and you're a great testament to that.
Thanks.
For sure. What would you tell someone? I always botch this question. I don't know why it's so difficult. What is something that you wish someone would have told you before you started that you can now pay forward?
It's not just a place to go work out.
What does that mean?
I think sometimes so many people, like, you go to a gym and you kind of go in, you put your time in, and you leave. Like, people there genuinely care about how you're doing and how things work. Like, whether it's how your workout was or, how you're doing personally or something. I mean, I don't know that anybody's like walked in the door and not walked out the door with friends or people that feel like family, which is not like a normal gym. Like you just don't go in, put your time in, and then leave. Like all of us kind of talk before class or during class or after class. You know, it's very rare that somebody kind of comes in, works out, leaves, and doesn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So
I want to share something with you that I've never told anybody. Like I've never even talked out loud with the team about this, because this was before there was a team. This was when it was like Courtney and I. My very first business mentor helped me take all of the ideas in my head and start trying to structure them and bring them to life, right? And something that we worked on was our class schedule. So I'll save everyone the very long story, but when we started, I kind of did some things backwards where I just like threw every possible time on the schedule and saw what stuck. There's better ways to go about it. So if there's anybody out there listening that wants to start a gym one day, I will help you with that. Don't do it that way. That was wrong. All of that to say, at some point with the mentor that I had at the time, not my current mentor, we ended up having back-to-back classes 3 different times throughout the day. So like just as examples, like 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, whatever. And within 48 hours, I was like, that is, to this day, hands down the biggest mistake we ever made. Thank God we caught it in 2 days. Because like, that's most places, that's how it goes, right? Cycle as many people as you can through. And it kind of started our mantra of like people over money because like, I don't want to do this that way. I don't want to, if that's how we had to do it, is 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. back to back to back to back to back, hour classes or hour sessions. Like I wouldn't want to do this. It is more, me included, we are all making more progress in our lives and growing as humans before and after classes than we actually are during the workouts, just with our connection with each other. Yeah. So, you sharing that reminded me of, thank God, I was like, something is not right with the schedule that we
I think I remember, I mean, even when I started there, like there was a lot.
In the very beginning, I threw everything out there. There's a better way to do it. But then we kind of settled into a new schedule and we needed to make some adjustments, and we went back to back, and it was bad news. It completely took away everything that was what I was trying to build. And, point being, connection with people, human connection, like-minded individuals before and after class and during class. But that time is so
not
valuable.
Ideally during class, but it does happen.
There's like 5 minutes during class where we're just like a little bit of quietness would help. I'm just kidding. If you could have a billboard on, I did not tell you this was coming.
You did not.
Your face. If you could have a billboard on the side of, let's say 62, right? So it sees like 15,000 cars a day.
Great.
It's your billboard signed KW. What does it say? What's your message?
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, and I'm not letting you get away with not answering this one, so take your time.
Invest in the things and the people that make you happy.
That was actually very quick. And that was a great answer. Has there been a time where you didn't live by that?
Yes.
Life's a little bit better when you do?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Another big question then. Right, I'm just going to piggyback off of that. What defines a successful life for you? Everyone has a different answer.
I think for me, it's we're gonna like start back at the beginning. Like it's my family.
What about it? What about family, successful life?
It's not about like what we have or anything. Like honestly, it's more about that they're happy, they're taken care of, they feel loved. and they know that they're important to, to me and Doug, and he's important to me, and everybody kind of knows that. As long as we're happy together and supporting each other, we could live in a shack. I don't care.
That's incredible.
I wouldn't do well living in a shack. Let me just put that out there.
Didn't say I wouldn't live in a shack. Just
don't want to live in a shack. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think a successful life doesn't have, like, to me, it's not the material things.
I appreciate you sharing that, because it's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, in the rat race, right? And like lose sight of the things that matter most. I think we all could be guilty of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So that's,
I am high maintenance. There's no doubt about that. Anyway, Matt knows me knows that. I just asked Doug.
Doug's listening to this at work, and he's like, yes.
Yeah. But I mean, it's, we've been afforded that, but it's stuff. There's definitely stuff that I would give up if it meant my family's happiness and their success. So
that's incredible. It's awesome. Well, I want to tell you something, and then, let me ask you this first. If you were in my seat, what would you have asked you today that I haven't? Like, what topic, what question?
I'm not good at this stuff.
If you say there's nothing, that means I did a good job, so I'm cool with that.
I don't know. See, you asked me to do this, and I mean, I don't think I'm that. Not that I'm not an interesting person, but I don't know. I don't know that there's anything I would ask myself.
Well, so I disagree entirely. I think you're very interesting.
No, I know that, but like,
I remember through athletics, you would get interviewed by a reporter for the Advocate or the Dispatch or whatever, and they'd ask you a bunch of questions about stuff that had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I wish you would have asked about even a question like, what am I passionate about, or whatever. So that's why I asked that question, because this is your time to shine, and a lot of people are going to see this. So anyway, so you can think on it for a second. You don't have to answer it, but I have something I would like to say before we wrap this up. And I've said this to you on numerous occasions, but maybe not in full form. And I mean everything that I'm about to say, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. One of the biggest blessings in my life is the fact that you and Carrie and Amy walked through the door that day. I had no idea. And at that time, I don't think it was any secret. Now looking back, I had no idea where this was headed. I had a passion, and I had a little bit of knowledge about the subject matter. Obviously, I wasn't putting anybody's health and life in danger. I knew what I was doing to a degree. But I'm so grateful that you guys had the confidence to try it. I'm so thankful that you trusted me with your health and then trusted me to cultivate a community and a team that would lead you accordingly and do the movement justice. So yeah, all of that to say that I'm extremely grateful for the day that you guys walked in. You had a profound impact on my life. There's a reason we all call you Gym Mom. And I genuinely, this place would not be the same, and it would not have evolved and become what it is today without you and people like you. So thank you for being you, genuinely.
Well, I mean, it's definitely, you miss it. When we were working out at home, it's just not the same. We all did it, but you miss the people, you miss the environment. It becomes a part of it's a part of my daily life.
I took a second to look back at some stuff from last year at this time. So if we're ever looking back and watching this 10 years from now, just to put this into perspective, last year at this time, we were completely locked down.
Yeah.
Veneration hadn't acquired a new client to help in 2 months at this time, right?
Yeah.
We're certainly and understandably so, there's people that were losing their jobs. So there's people that can no longer work with us. Everybody is just what is happening and what is going to happen? Are we going to exist in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? And then to look back at that, and today, to just think about the amount of people that we get to come in contact with that have been with us for a long time, a moderate amount of time, or people that are brand new with us in 2021. Like, we get to be in person and connect and help. Like, yeah, we're blessed.
It makes a difference. I mean,
Very grateful.
I'm not one of those people that do a working out on my own. Like, I need to go somewhere to go do it to be held accountable for it. So I did it.
You did a great job too.
I did it.
You did a great job.
I don't want to say I didn't like it. I mean, I did it, but my preference is to be able to go somewhere and do it.
I think you were just stoked because you got to deck out your basement. Your basement was looking pretty cool during that time.
It is looking better now, though. We have a barbell and plates and everything down there now.
Nice.
So, yeah, the night before we thought gyms were going to close, like, we were scouring Meijer and Target for kettlebells and dumbbells and everything else. So,
which makes you very, very proactive and very smart, because yikes, that whole thing was a nightmare. I think kettlebell prices went up 300%.
We got ours. I mean, we're good.
What I want to do real quick before we wrap up here, I do want to remind anyone listening that they can submit questions for myself to answer, or if when I have the coaching staff on, we take frequently asked questions, or one-time asked questions, and we will answer them the best that we can. So you can submit those in the comments on any of the YouTube pages, or the YouTube videos, or the Facebook page, or to my email, which is storm@crossfitveneration.com. We would love to answer your questions. What I always ask is that if you find any value in this episode, and there is plenty of it in there with Kathryn's story, I would ask that you pay it forward and share it on your social media, and potentially even tag someone that you think it could help, maybe, whatever step they need to take in their life. I would just ask that you bring that value to others as well. So finally, if you or a friend would like to begin your health and fitness journey with us, I would personally like to invite you in for a conversation with us. So that's how we roll here. Like, we don't do a random free trial or whatever. We care about you, and we want to learn about you. So you can go to crossfitveneration.com and you can book your new member consultation, where we will team up with you to learn your story, your goals, and get you on a custom action plan to bring those things to life today. So that is my spiel. That is how we can help, and I would love to help you next if you are listening. So, Cat Dog.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to do this again, and whatever it is, a few months, just to do an update on your journey and your progress between now and then. So I'm looking forward to it, as long as you're down.
Sure.
You did a great job. So, my friends, we'll talk to you next time. Stay safe, keep moving. Goodbye, everybody.